Well, the only way for people to see us is if we turn the background off, Jeremiah. We've figured that part of it out, at least at this point, so that's good news. What's up, man? Happy Friday. What's up, all the rebels out there? Thanks for joining us today on another weekly edition of the Rebel Rally Live. Your source for all things that suck about sales and that have a different opinion about sales as well, too. Jeremiah, where are you at today, bro? What's going on?
I am in Salt Lake City, Utah. The great.
What are you doing? What are you doing in Salt Lake, bro?
I'm here, like, visiting a super awesome sales team, doing a presentation there, going around seeing some other rebels here in Salt Lake City. Got together for dinner with them last night, so just some really good group of guys and stuff. So yeah,
that's
fun.
Cool.
What about you? Where are you at?
I'm in the other room, actually. Like I know the lighting. My lighting is way better than yours because I know what I'm doing. Right, so the rebels that are watching, like, and they're wondering, like, y'all aren't in the same room. It doesn't look like the same room. Yeah, we're in the same room. Like,
they'll put me in the
house.
They'll put me in the bad room. He put me in like the closet room. Go in there, ginger man.
Yeah. Okay. I see.
The gingers always get picked on. The gingers always get picked on. See how it is.
For real?
Well, no, I mean,
is that like a standard of society you're saying, or is that like
if you've ever watched South Park, you know?
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, you're right.
They're always making fun.
Good point. It's a good point. It's a really good point. It's a really good point.
You got no.
Yeah.
Soul,
so once
kick a ginger, all that stuff.
The things that come out of your mouth sometimes.
Gingivitis. You got gingivitis.
Okay, I don't think I've heard that one before. Actually, yeah. Maybe I have.
There's some good ones.
Maybe I tried to block most of these out of my mind, because they're just kind of weird.
A little nasty.
A little gross. Not gonna lie. What's up, all the rebels in the comments so far? We got Nick, Donnelly, what up, dude? Matt Miller, Tyler Ward. See a couple of y'all in here. How's it going? It's good to see you all.
Tyler, who's got the top bunk?
Here we go, right here.
There's two other rooms. So
it's not a bad idea. Do you want to bunk up tonight for tonight's version of Jail and Jeremiah go to bed?
Anything that sounds better than that.
Yes.
You have top bunk because it's like a twin bed.
True. We could also make bunk beds out of the other beds, even though those ones are there, like just to show our ingenuity and our ability to be able to do really cool things.
I need some power tools, but
probably work that out. One of the neighbors here probably has something. I'll tell you guys real quick, like a fun hack for traveling is Airbnb or like VRBO. I think they call it Verbo.
Yeah,
that's how you're actually supposed to say it. But
word, I guess.
It's not really like for us. It's not really about and just like personal preference as well as like company preference. It's not really about the idea of like what a hotel costs compared to an Airbnb. It's more or less like the freedom and flexibility of an Airbnb. It's in a neighborhood in most cases. You get a lot of room to do activities, i.e. pretend like you're whiteboarding a sales process for the CEO of the company. But actually get nothing done in the project. Just kidding if you're watching. He's like,
we did do stuff, Jeff.
We did. We actually got stuff done. This has been a great trip. Hey, so every week we ask people in the comments before we jump into this, please throw some thoughts, throw some ideas, throw some questions, anything that's going on in your world. But what we're going to talk about today is middle of the funnel experiences. I hate to even put it that way, but we call it the living pipeline around here at the Sales Rebellion. And so for us, this is part of the process of understanding like what it looks like to nurture and really how to break the status quo and all the mediocrity around follow-up emails, just checking ins, which most of you guys and girls that are here today most likely know how we feel about those things as it is. But we'll get into some of that and maybe even go on a couple of tangents in the process. Who knows? If we can really get Jeremiah going, he had one of these of coffee. Not really sure that I want to endorse that. Hey, listen, don't be mean to companies. We're live on LinkedIn, right?
I just said it wasn't the best.
Okay, good. I like that.
I was trying to be political there.
I'm still sipping on mine because of what you just said.
It's probably
kind of
cold
hard to finish this one. Yeah, it's a little cold. I mean, it's freezing out, so there's that. Thankfully, it's really cold in this house too.
It's as cold inside the house as it is outside the house. So
with the heater all the way up. Yeah,
thanks
that's an
Airbnb host.
interesting
That's something you
anomaly.
didn't mention when you said, "Oh, you should do an Airbnb. It's 30 degrees inside the Airbnb." I'm sure the hotel down the street is super warm, and I'm in here like, "Oh, let me do this here. This is great. All right, guys, let's go."
Good times, good times. Let's get back on track here for a second, okay? Sassy Jeremiah is here, ladies and gentlemen. So if anybody has any ideas specifically around or questions, I should say, comments around the identity of what it looks like to nurture accounts in the middle of the funnel, that's what we're going to be talking about today. We'll share some of our concepts around the living pipeline and also around the tools necessary in order to give the right kind of experience and nuance the process for people. I think like a big thing that nobody's really talking about is in the midst of something like a recession, what it looks like to be able to sell effectively. And I think the problem is that most people are focused on the top of the funnel, but that's not really what needs to be focused on. What needs to be focused on more than anything is the people that are in the pipeline and that living ecosystem of the pipeline, and what's next for those folks as well too. Jeremiah, I'm going to let you yak for a second here about the general emotion behind people in the middle of the pipeline, i.e. people not getting back to you, i.e. people setting appointments and then bailing, ghosting, those types of things. And we'll talk a little bit more about the hands-on concepts that we want to bring to the table for the Rebels today. But what's your take on the middle of the funnel?
Yeah. So, well, I guess when we talk about the living pipeline, where'd he go? We represent it with a tree that has several different branches, so 7 different branches exactly. Now you may not have all 7 branches. You may just have 3 or 4. It depends. But basically, those branches represent the different types of customers that are in your or prospects that are in your pipeline. So you get answers when you're prospecting, like not interested, or the folks that will talk to you for 15 or 20 minutes and they'll never buy anything from you, but they'll talk your ear off and they'll refer people to you and things like that. We call those granddads, or the wild cards who take a meeting and then they don't show up, and then they reschedule and then they show up to that and then they ghost you and you never know what they're going to do. So there's these different folks that are in your pipeline and you can't really do the same thing for every single one. So the living pipeline is represented by a tree with these different branches based on responses that people give you. And the idea is to give the right experience to the right prospect at the right time. And rather than your follow-up and the folks that are in your funnel, it being a, "Hey, Dale, how's it going? I wanted to sell you something." And Dale goes, "Yeah, I'm busy with other things. Call me back in 6 months." And so I go into my CRM and I say, "Call Dale back in 5.5 months." And I call Dale back in 5.5 months. And he says, "Yeah, I'm busy still. Call me back in 3 months." And so I go into the CRM. And so that's pretty much what most people's pipelines look like, is there's just a whole mass of people in there. It's rusted, it's leaking, people are falling out. We call them back in 6 months and they're like, "Oh yeah, we already went with someone else. We went with the copier warrior because he gave us an actual experience." So the point is to meet people where they are and not have them fall out of your pipeline because you're just doing the same old thing that everybody else is by, just checking in, just wanted to see if you're ready to talk to me now, and all that sort of thing. So ours is based on, of course, giving experiences throughout the process. People aren't always ready. Most of the people that we contact aren't going to be ready when we talk to them initially. So my thoughts are exactly probably what yours are going to be, that we've got to give them an experience that when they are ready, and depending on the experience we give them, a lot of times they'll be ready more, quicker, or they'd be ready more quickly than what they would have been otherwise. But the idea is to, when they are ready, for us to be pretty much the only option, for them at that point. So
for sure. I think the big issue is that we're very assumptive as salespeople. Like, we're assumptive that, oh, I'm in a sales cycle and these are the things I'm going to do because that's what's going to get me the sale, and because you want to buy, because you want to buy. You told me that you were interested and you wanted to buy, and
Right.
so I'm just gonna go through the motions and be assumptive that you're buying, and we'll see what happens. Real quick, we got to just like give a shout out to our boy Ding. So Justin says here, can I just mention that I love the light pad playing underneath?
Yes.
If you don't know Ding, hit Ding up. He actually created all of the Rebellion's music. Fantastic human being. Is the sales rapper on LinkedIn. Holler at him. Rebel by nature, and like officially, through us, because he's the soundtrack of the Sales Rebellion. Getting back on track. Hey, you see what I said there? So I'm clever sometimes, okay, like Jeremiah. That. So you're not always as clever as me, but sometimes I'm more clever than you. So I want to talk about the what we're speaking on in particular in a way that like we can give some hands-on advice. We got an amazing rebel out there. His name's Jerome Gilbert. He works for a company called Coastal Business Systems. Shout out to Evan Sedness and the crew at Coastal Business Systems. If you need anything technology related, office equipment, some smart boards, you just want somebody to come over and like talk to you about techie weird stuff, holler at the folks over at Coastal Business Systems. They're in Eureka, Redding, Chico, California, all the greatest cities, I think is what we're supposed to say. By the way, we get no money for endorsing these guys right now. We just get their continued loyalty, hopefully. Look at us. We're killing it on this Friday afternoon edition of the West Coast version of the Sales Rebellion, coming to you with the Rebel Rally. I mean, maybe it's the air. It's something
to be a little tired. Jet lagged, it's a couple hours.
Yeah. So, and we sound like a bunch of like robot corporate people, like giving like weird
I can also like hear
now,
you in the I can hear the echo.
It's weird. I can hear you too, and it's strange, and hopefully nobody else can hear you, because hearing you twice is like that's not very pleasant. It's a nightmare. So let's talk about Coastal for just a hot minute. Let's say you have somebody and they come in and they do a demo, and let's say you're in SaaS, let's say you're in financial services, the vertical doesn't really matter. You do a demo for a prospect, they come into the office, they check out the product, they do a demo, you're on Zoom, you give them a live showing of the product or the software, they great feedback, they're engaged, this is wonderful, awesome, hit us up in a couple weeks, right? And they get into that cycle of what you just talked about. Hey, had some things pushed off, got to do this, got to do that. All right, so what we've created for rebels, like the guys and girls over at Coastal, is the ability to nuance and continue the experience. Now, a lot of people know about the crumpled letters and the rebel letter campaign in general. Some of our other notorious outreach tools as well too, like the rebel cutting boards or the unwritten stories. Those things are all designed to create that first impression, to nuance and experience into what it is that we're doing with our prospects, the people that we seek to serve. But then it stops, like in people's minds, most likely, right? It stops. It's from there, you like run the discovery and you qualify and you send a proposal and you close. There's an experience within every single compartment of the sales process if we allow it. So, for example, demo comes through, they check out the product, they check out the service. What do you do after that? You wait a few weeks, you call them, you follow up. Hey, per our last conversation, this was our call to action, or whatever you've done in your own system. What about the experience we're giving to people, though? So Jeremiah's got some stuff he's going to show real quickly. Two particular things, after someone meets with you that you can do from that experiential nature. We'll let him show them and talk about it a little bit. Go ahead, Jeremiah.
So we'll start with this one, the certificate. This is one you actually created with Jero, right? Jero and Shane. So they probably can't read this, so I'm going to read it. So it says, I went to Jero and Shane's Aquos board demo, and all I got was this lousy certificate. And it has the name of the prospects, of course. It says, this certificate is awarded to Scott and Max for outstanding attentiveness and conduct during the demo. It works as a testament to their competence and excellent ability to realize that this is just a stupid gag gift. This certificate is awarded on 30 September 2022. And then you got the signatures down there and everything like that. So,
and real quick, as a note, the boys and rebels in general, when we instruct them on how to use pieces like this from back in the copier warrior days that are being rehashed into society through other humans, frame it. They put it in a frame. They send it in a frame. The prospect gets it in a frame. And this is your follow-up after an appointment. How many sales reps get experiences like that after an appointment, a demo, a discovery, right? So instead of just the, hey, thanks for your time email, which clearly we believe in as well too, and we love sending. We also send those certificates in the mail. There's another one. There's a punch card that we created with the boys as well at Coastal that you're going to show next.
Yep, I'm gonna try to see. I'm like very bad with trying to get it in the box. I think you guys can read that. So
they can. So I'll read it for them. Congratulations, Bob. You've officially had 18 meetings with or 10 meetings with Jerome and Shane. When you've reached your 20th meeting, you'll receive a complimentary Sharp Acquiesce board and a cookie. So after an appointment, nuanced and continued experiences, send a punch card, 10 meetings, get to 20, get some free stuff and a cookie.
Just things that meetings at this point.
I probably not, honestly, but also maybe, you never know, right? Like,
because I think it's important. Like they know them pretty well at this point. Not that you couldn't use that for someone that you've had, a couple meetings with, but obviously, like if they've gone through and had 5, 6, 7 meetings already, with the main person or the main, couple people or whatever, then it makes more sense. They know their personality a little bit more. They can, have a little bit more fun with it probably and things like that. So.
For sure. And you build into this, right? It should be stated that you build into this. You give those initial experiences, the accounts that these gentlemen are using these types of tools with they've gone through a Rebel Letter campaign or something direct mail oriented. It's very hands-on, a tangible product, if you will, a tangible sales tool to be able to capture attention, not just get it for a little bit, but capture it indefinitely. And then when you nuance that experience, when somebody gets the certificate in the mail for the demo or the punch card for how many meetings you've had at this point, and it can be silly too, right? Because let's just say that you've excessively had 10 meetings and everybody kind of knows it, right? It makes it fun, a little sarcasm like, hey, thanks for putting up with us for 10 solid meetings, you get a free cookie, punch this card on your 11th meeting and we'll reward you with that.
Did they punch out like the amount of meetings when they gave this?
So for rebels that are listening, that this is what it's all about, right? This whole concept of what are the fine details, right? So yes, punch it, exit, check it, right? That you have to have those types of elements within that type of touch piece, 100%. Right? Because it nuances the experience. It shows the attention to detail, which is very important for you as a sales rep to communicate to the people that you seek to serve. It shows competency. It shows the ability to listen intently. It shows the ability to pay attention to the details, like I just said. And those are things that people are looking for inside of purchasing something for their company, especially enterprise level or a large purchase that's going to affect a department or the entire company at that. So 100%, it's very important to pay attention to those pieces. And again, like we're showing you everything like printed out and kind of cut, but imagine it's laminated. Imagine it's in an actual case or
bag or something.
No, come on, the certificate. Don't let me fall on my butt right now. Don't save me. One of those things you put a picture in. Come on,
frame.
I feel like Keenan right now when he gets on a live. Yeah, a frame. Yeah, Keenan, a frame. Yeah. Learn your words, bro. Shout out to Keenan, by the way, one of my boys. Thought process being attention to detail, experiential concepts. How do we make people feel different in this whole nuance concept as well too? Because it is about people that are in the funnel currently inside of a recession or an economic downturn. It's about how you're treating those folks. Like if you're just coming at them with, hey, what's up with my paperwork? Hey, what's up with that deal we've been working? Guys, listen, and girls, the whole concept here is that's salesy. Nobody likes to be sold to. People prefer to buy. People prefer influence instead of persuasion. As an example, like, don't persuade me, influence me to say like, yeah, we need this. We know we need this. We want this. We desire this. And the experience that I'm having right now is something that I've never had before, or it's so unique that even if they've had something similar, the concept of that is that it defines the experience that they're having with you. Right. Because we believe in the Rebellion that people buy because of credibility. They trust someone and the process that person is putting them through. So they give them a shot. And the shot shouldn't be taken lightly. When somebody signs paperwork or makes the commitment to use your product, you have to think deeply about what that person's doing, especially small business owners or people in larger organizations as well, too, can affect their literal job that affects the ecosystem of the company. There's a lot more at stake than just them buying your product, right? So if we think deeply about these things, if we're choosing to impact people, that legendary concept that we preach at the Rebellion, if we live like a rebel throughout the process of what it is that we're giving from an experiential standpoint, people will just feel different. People will remember the way you made them feel more than they'll remember what you're selling. Bottom line.
So here's a question. When you send something like the certificate and the or the punch card, and you have next steps maybe, or maybe you don't, like, how do you follow up on something like that? It's an experiential touch. What is your follow-up to that? Especially, again, if you don't have next steps, which is probably a whole nother conversation, right? Like, should you have next steps, and what should those next steps be? And don't leave the meeting without this and this and this and this and this. Anyway.
Yeah. We all know exactly how you feel about this whole process. Like, we believe that sales is just as much art. It's equal parts art as much as it is science. So we believe it's equal amounts ultimately there, and that also some people are going to need more emotion. They're going to need more of the art and some people are going to need more of the analytical side of it, the science, the successful system that you've built in the process, right? So because of that, it's also abstract. So the thought here is that there's a couple different types of people that you're going to be speaking to and that you're going to be sending these things to. You have to think about the way that they'll be thinking and what will accommodate them. So in most cases, people are busy. And so even when you send something like that, and by the way, if you'll notice about these pieces, there's no real call to action or CTA with them. It's just part of the experience, because we believe as sales rebels that it's our job to be diligent in maintaining the fruit of that we're building in this relationship. So we have to sow and reap what we sow, right? So to get to the harvest, you have to nuance this concept of not being pushy, not asking a million questions unless they're relevant to what's happening in the system, in the cycle. And also just calling somebody on the phone a couple days after you drop something like that off and saying, hey, it's Dale. Is now a good time to catch up and talk about what's next for our future and inside of this relationship. Simple things like that. Not, hey, did you get my thing? Right? Hey, just seeing if you got my certificate. Like, let the prospect or the person that you seek to serve bring that up.
Yeah.
That really, and it's the same thing with an email. Not like, hey, how'd you like my handwritten note? How'd you like my certificate? How'd you like that experience? But just continuing forward and in an appropriate and respectful way. Right. So
why don't you say things like, hey, did you get that? Like, is it like, what's the reasoning behind, not asking something like that?
Accommodation theory in psychology teaches us specifically that when we're in something like a sales cycle, as an example, because we can do this with our personal lives as well, too. I want everybody to kind of think about that as I say this. If we are speaking to somebody about a task, right? Like, did you get my thing? What did you think? It's kind of demanding. It's not very accommodating. And it takes people to a new type of experience with you, that not only are you sending this stuff, but then you are demanding some type of feedback. And that might not be your intention, right? But we do it in so many different ways, right? Such as just sending a regular email saying, hey, we had planned to get together again in a couple weeks. You would ask me to reach out today and go over that time frame with you. When is a good time next, right? If even something as simple as that can feel like a task or a burden to the person that we're speaking to and reaching out to. So finesse is a huge part of this process. Take in posturing yourself, right? Which leads to when you ask a question like, hey, last time we talked, this is what you asked me to do. I'm showing up for that. If you're not in the mood right now to respond, that's totally fine. I can be pleasantly persistent. Right? If we take this step forward of, listen, like, don't worry about me. I'm not going anywhere. That confidence factor, that ability to be able to, again, give good experiences in the process. Because here's what happens. Like, for everybody, listen. What happens is that when you send things like business cards of you stabbing copy machines, and you send things like bricks with instruction manuals to throw that brick at the broken copy machine, like in between appointments, after discoveries, after you've sent a proposal. I'm just going to tell you all right now that the person remembers those things, experiences those things, and you don't need to ask about them. Let them instead naturally enjoy that time. And then look at you as something that doesn't demand some type of attention around it. Like, you have to get back to me now that I've done this for you.
It does seem a little awkward to ask someone at the, like the joke card. You send them a joke, and that's basically pretty much all it is, saying like, hey, I hope you get a kick out of this. Like the packaging one. Hey, we should like tell them that we should see what they think about that joke, because I don't even know if like whoever I wrote it for is gonna use it. So I might be a little salty about that. So I want to
go ahead. He's probably watching right. Actually, he's shooting a video right now, and I can't wait to show Rebels.
Hey, but
what counts?
But a Rebel, Adam Peak, who we met up with last night, could use this because he's in the packaging space. So
that's true.
All right, so let me remember it. It was what is a psychiatrist's favorite genre of music?
I don't know.
It's for the packaging industry. So maybe we get some answers over here in the comments. We'll give them like a couple seconds to put their answer. What they think
packaging industry. What is a psychologist's favorite genre?
Psychologist, psychiatrist, either one works.
Psychiatrist, right? Psychologist.
What is a psychologist's favorite genre of music? All right, so the answer is shrink wrap. It's a total dad joke, right? But I thought it was great. Anyway, but it would be weird to like send that and then follow up and say, hey, did you get my joke? That's just kind of weird. It is
mostly because if it's not funny to them, right? Like, yeah, I did, and it was dumb.
It sucked.
Just let it suck on its own, right? Don't bring it back up. Like, let it suck on its own.
Yeah, exactly. The important thing to remember too, I think, about some of these steps, though, is because right now we're talking about middle of the funnel, but we have talked about like the crumpled letter, just other letters in the letter campaign and things like that are top of the funnel that are designed to kind of get that attention and start a conversation. And we do ask things like, hey, I sent you a crumpled letter. Did you get it? And so that's a different touch than these ones. So it's important to kind of remember where you're at, and it's different depending on that. If you've already had a conversation with someone, it's weird and kind of awkward to just always ask them, did you get what I sent? Did you get what I sent?
Yeah, right, exactly. How do you like it is the question, right? It's if you can look inward and say, would I appreciate somebody doing these types of things? Am I being pleasantly persistent? Or am I being a nuisance at this point? Am I creating an awkward moment for people? Am I causing someone to have like a little bit of a negative outlook of me, even though they're like, I respect the hustle, but Jesus in heaven, stop emailing me, right? Like, if that's what you're doing to people, you need to recognize that. And the only person that can truly recognize it is ourselves at the end of the day, because it's us that are taking the action, and people they're not gonna call you up and be like, hey, you're really demanding and like overbearing, and please quit. And that's what salespeople can be notorious for. Also, salespeople suck at following up. So all of you out there that take too long to follow up or just not consistent with it, these methodologies of sending punch cards and certificates, and imagine the kind of stuff that we send to people after things like a first meeting. We got a great Rebel in one of our Rebel squadrons right now, Kyle. He's selling into the construction space, and he is sending when somebody says something like unsubscribe in an email, right? Or they tell him to take him off a list. He sends in the mail, he sends an envelope, and in the front it says unsubscribe and has like a finger like clicking a button. And inside it's a certificate style letter, like we've talked about. But it says, congratulations, you've been successfully unsubscribed. And then it has a QR code for that person to experience a little bit more with the rep. Kyle comes on in a video, talks to you for a little bit. And if it influences you to change your mind, then it does. And if it doesn't, it was a great experience. And most likely, if Kyle calls and says, hey, it's me, and I know you wanted to be unsubscribed, but did you get my letter in the mail? That it creates a softer moment for the person that's receiving that call. Like, yeah, that was clever, man. But listen, this is the reason why we unsubscribe. Those are the types of responses that you'll get. In most cases, we as salespeople don't get all the information. We only think about this person has a need in particular, and then we relate that directly to our product and say, here's the best presentation ever that you've ever seen in your life, and now are you ready to purchase, right? But we don't think about all the in-betweens. We don't think about the emotions of people. We don't think about the process that they have that they're probably not explaining. And so instigating, essentially, to create a moment where that person will respond and say, listen, let me give you the rest of the story, instead of just like the crappy email I said that said, unsubscribe me because I was frustrated, right? If we can create those moments for people, then we're changing the way that people look at the landscape of sales as well, too, which is the whole purpose of being a rebel, to change the game, to create impact, to build a legacy, and to affect the community on a level that builds your reputation and doesn't get you forgotten in the sea of sameness of every other sales rep that's out there. We don't have a lot of like questions showing up at this point, which is kind of cool. It must be that we're just like covering this so well. There's a good amount of comments in here.
Or nobody's here.
There's a solid amount of people right here right now. What's up to the 40 plus rebels on LinkedIn? It looks like we got a few on YouTube, some on Facebook as well too. We appreciate y'all being here. I like this comment. This is actually Josh Fetty, and he said, "Let me fall in my butt right now. Don't say me is the best thing I've heard in a live stream in months." I just want to say thanks, Josh. I appreciate that, bro, from the bottom of my heart. I would prefer to make things a lot more natural and human, as most of you know, and that made me feel really good. So thank you for that. Apparently, there's some people that are going to be having some kind of musical battles in here as well, too. And my boy Cameron Burris is saying that we should pull up some old Imperial on a Rebel event. I don't know if people can handle that, Cameron, to be quite frank with you. To be honest with you, actually, Jeremiah was listening to some screaming music the other day in the car with me and was like giving me the dad talk. Like, so Dale, why is it so heavy and why are they screaming all the time? So
my question
people
was,
can handle it.
The lyrics can be completely different, and it can be like, I hate you or I love everyone, but they sound the same. Obviously, like people that are, metal purists and stuff are going to be like, that's blasphemy. They don't sound the same. But to me, like, as someone who doesn't listen to it all the time, I was like, but it sounds like they're screaming mad, whether they're saying like the world is great or the world sucks. So that was
ladies and gentlemen, the next thing you know is that Jeremiah is going to tell you that every rap song sounds the same and every country song sounds the same and every pop song sounds the same. Lord have mercy, bro.
Taylor Swift.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being with us this morning / afternoon / wherever the heck you are, Renee. Here it is right here. Blasphemy. That's it.
Is he directing that to me or to you?
100% directing that to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can take it. Take it.
This guy right here. This dude. Yeah. Let me get him for you, Renee. Anyway, Rebels, thank you for being here. Really appreciate y'all. Love it. Each and every single one of you. Remember that you can head over to www.thesalesrebellion.com. If you're, as it shows down here on the little banner slide that I'm taking away right now. If you have questions about what the Rebellion can do for you in your sales walk, but even if you don't have questions about what the Rebellion can do for you in your sales walk, remember that you are responsible for the outcomes inside of your sales career more than anybody else. And so what we teach you today and the things that we're giving you from the perspective of how to change the game and be better as a sales rebel is really to ignite your own rebellion. So think outside the box, become creative, give people experiences, and you'll have much more success as a seller. Don't believe me? Take Brian's
We're
word
now
for it.
pushing $200,000 in gross profit every single month. At that point, when Dale came in here, we were probably doing $30,000, $40,000 in, I'd say $30,000 to $50,000 in gross profit every single month. I've doubled the team. We're now pushing $200,000 in gross profit every single month. A lot of that's, some of that stuff is tied to the market conditions, but at the same time, a large portion of that, and the reason why my team will defend and do anything for anyone else on my team and protect them and help them and pick them up when they fall is because of stuff that I learned from the Rebellion.